Well, speaking of loud and clear and Gina Grad, I just had a conversation with Mike August.
Uh-oh.
Not his fault, but it was one of those things. So
what did he say about to besmirch Dolly's name?
nothing.
Oh, good.
But we did speak of you.
Oh, that's worse.
Oh, no.
Judali. I said, wait a minute. So what are we doing? I said, well, next weekend after this. I said, we're going to Chicago, then we're going to Detroit, and we're coming back Sunday. And I said, oh, yeah, Sunday. And he said, that's Gina's wedding.
Yeah.
And then I said, oh, wait a minute. That's in Santa Rosa?
Camarillo.
Well, that's all I read on the thing. So I said, Santa Rosa? And he said, yeah. And he said,
Fortified wine country.
he said, that was
your joke about where Teresa's dad lived.
Yeah, not wine country, but fortified wine country. The bad part of wine country.
Yeah, it's a little confusing.
I said, I checked. I think I checked, and I think that place is further than San Francisco, which, of course, I'm weighing.
Santa Rosa is, yeah.
I'm weighing landing at LAX on Sunday and then going to the Southwest terminal after a crazy trip and then going up on another flight. And I'm like, shit, I got to give a speech. Maybe if I roll an ankle getting off the plane or something.
We'll FaceTime you.
Yeah, so I'm like, shit.
We're flying to Charles Schultz Airport.
I go, Santa Rosa, that's like north of San Francisco, or it's deep, and Mike goes, so hold on, let me check. And then he goes, no, it's this side of Santa Barbara. No,
right
we're
past
good.
That
we can drive. And I go, oh, we can drive? And then he comes back again and he goes, oh no, you're right. It's 400 miles away. We got to fly. And I'm
you
like,
were
fuck.
both right in a sense.
I know.
August is right about where it is, and you're right. Santa Rosa is north of San Francisco.
This is so uncomfortable.
And I was so miserable because I was trying to figure out, do we go to Burbank and catch a Southwest flight? Do we see if do we stay at LAX on Sunday morning and catch a 1:00 flight? And I'm like, God damn it. And then he's like, no, wait, it's by Santa Barbara or something. And I'm like, so it's Santa Rosa Valley, right?
Yeah, I'm so.
Is that really what it's called?
Okay, yes, let me explain.
I've never heard of that.
First of all, I'm touched that you even went to the trouble to be mad about this. That means
I wasn't
a lot.
mad, I was miserable.
Yeah, then I'm even more touched.
Misery is an emotion.
And Jews' love language is misery. So I do appreciate that. I specifically, no offense, Bryan, I wasn't going to put anyone through a destination wedding. And to me, anything that involves a plane is destination for the locals, not doing it. I specifically chose Camarillo because it's really close. It's like 25 minutes away.
It's accessible.
Yeah, but from my house anyway. And it's technically Ventura County. So if LA shut down again, we'd still be able to using the noodle.
Right there on the end.
Because Ventura has been a little more.
Santa Rosa, is 44 miles from here. And Santa Rosa Valley is 44. And Santa Rosa is 419.
That's intentionally confusing.
Yeah, so I said, I love this place. This is going to be perfect. And then when I went to their website to do like the official, particulars, it said Santa Rosa Valley. I was like, I've never heard of that, but if that's what they want to call it, it has caused a lot of confusion, and I'm really sorry.
Well, it's okay because confusion when it goes in your direction is essentially like the time Emmy hid my keys.
Right.
Your keys. I searched my house. I searched my other house. I searched my 2 cars. Wow. I put a decree out. Has anyone seen my keys? I went nuts for about 3 days. And at some point, Emmy produced the keys. It's only because he took the keys and hung them up in his office away from any prying eyes, and somehow didn't respond to the call of anyone seeing Adam's keys.
Away from all logic.
But you're in such thankful mode. You're away from discipline
no questions
mode.
asked.
I'm
you still
so
get the reward.
happy to have my keychain back, even if you stole them from me and hid them.
When confusion gets resolved on the happy side, there's no harm, no foul. In fact, it's a relief.
Right.
In fact, I got this very same type of deal. Very urgent text from Dr. Drew's wife saying, "Do we fly into SFO?" And I was so confused. And I've had some conversations with her, and I love her, but they're kind of Mike Augusty sometimes.
Yes.
So I was trying to figure out what we were talking about. Maybe we had a live show. So yes, it is super close. I'm really sorry. I was just following what it said on the website.
Day trip.
Yeah, well, so now
Now we got
I
a party
can
bus going.
sit and sip an IPA in the
yeah.
back of the Drewmobile
Oh, yeah.
while we head up to our very close wedding
And
destination.
I'll just say this. I think you're going to like the alcohol served.
All right. All right.
If it's alcohol, I like it.
Don McLean is going to zoom in a few. He was 25 when he wrote American Pie.
That
Unbelievable.
fucking song must have been paying off like a broken slot machine for the last 40, whatever it's been, 50
Let's
years.
all try to figure out what we were doing at age 25. Can we figure that? Can we figure that out?
Done and done.
Yeah, and if at the end we feel bad, I'll include Jim Carolla,
I was
and then we'll all
drinking
feel better.
Keystone Light 2 American Pie
I was
while listening.
living in New York, totally broke and temping.
Yeah.
I had a one-bedroom with 2 roommates, and I slept on a bunk bed that was from one of my roommates' kid brother from when I grew up.
We have a
little
winner.
Rick had
Yeah.
a little thing, and I was probably making $10 to $12 an hour with no benefits, swinging a hammer.
I was making $6.75 at K-Rock, getting yelled at by Jed the Fish on the midday show for screening calls, and I desperately needed that job. Those 4 hours were very important to me.
You guys are a couple of suckers because this was my first real job. And when they said they wanted me to go full time, they said they were going to give me $25,000 a year. And I thought I found a winning lottery ticket. You're going to give me $25,000? I was so excited. It didn't get me very far.
That was
turns
Jack
out.
Silver's big offer to me when I was doing the sound effects on the show. He's like, "All right, $28,000 a year." It's like, wow,
Yeah, that's big money.
I was
Watch out for falling Bryans.
I was offered to be the highest paid part-time employee at K-Rock when I took over on Loveline. That was the pitch to me. So van drivers and phone ops. I would have been competing
So
with Bryan.
weekend guys,
Be
yeah,
a-
watch out.
A king.
Right. I famously said I was sort of prescient sometimes, even though, and I had weird chutzpah, even though it was based on nothing. But
Undeserved.
I just said I'd do the job for free. I love talking. It's a great job. I would definitely do it for free, but as long as there's money to be made, I want a part of that money. So I don't really want it based on part-time employee. I just want my cut of whatever it generates.
Here's how poorly K-Rock paid. Chris, you can research this. It's pretty easy. California raised their minimum wage 2002, 2003, somewhere in that neighborhood. I was making, I would say, $6.41 an hour screening calls at K-Rock. The California raised the minimum wage to above what K-Rock was paying, so they had to raise their hourly wage by like 23 cents to match the California minimum wage.
And if it's the radio, I know they had to let somebody go to budget it.
They might have had to.
All right. So somebody tweeted me something that I haven't seen, but I told Chris to explore it and sort of Netflix me right.
Oh.
And the reason I say that is Netflix has a series, and somebody tweeted me in the series that it's a...
Is it the F1 thing?
No,
Oh,
which
okay, I thought you'd be into
I
that.
enjoyed.
Okay.
Drive to Survive, very enjoyable. But this is another series on Netflix that is 22-minute vignettes on why fill in the blank, you know. And I guess it could be anything from what do we need the Federal Reserve for to here's why dogs are your best friend or whatever it is.
shows.
And they
Things
just
you should know, but they need to be explained.
Yeah. Factoids opened
kind
up
of
a
little
little.
freakonomics-y, I guess, just the little bites of here's some info, let me lay it on you in a digestible way. It's called Explained. And this particular episode that somebody tweeted me to take a look at is called Your Skin. So I told Chris, put together that.
Is this going to be racist?
It's a never-ending battle I do about all the soaps and the scrubbing and the shampooing. Go ahead, Chris.
All right, so this is the establishing clip. Here we go. That kind of says what the episode's about.
Skin is your immune system's first and best line of defense.
I like to use the analogy of a brick wall. So the bricks are the cells, and the mortar is our natural oils.
This wall, the epidermis, is completely rebuilt about once a month. New cells are born down here and make their way to the surface, where they flake off. The pores you can see are actually the openings of hair follicles. They're nearly everywhere in your body, not just the places that look hairy. Glands attached to the follicles put out an oily, waxy substance called sebum.
It helps lubricate our skin and acidify our skin.
Your skin's pH isn't neutral, it's closer to 5.
Okay.
All right, so that's how it works. Your nature knows what it's doing. It's using, I never really thought about using the follicle to use as a conduit to get the
it.
sebum out
like a ladder.
to the top of the skin. But well, let's find out what happens when we screw with that flora and fauna.
Washing with soap has saved so many lives, but soap also erodes the mortar in that brick wall, disrupting your defenses. And because it's pretty basic, soap can change the pH of your skin.
Basic.
When we overclean and overwash, you're preventing it from doing its job.
You've really just messed with the chemistry of your skin. You've changed the oils. If the oil are sort of the soil in which your microbial ecosystem grows, you've just messed with it enough that what comes back is a little imbalanced.
Right. Oh, we should explain what they're talking about because people couldn't see the pH scale, right? Acid on one side, base on the other. When it said basic, it means soap's more of a base and thus will throw your skin pH balance out of whack.
Yeah, thanks. I didn't even, that zoomed right over my
She didn't mean
skin.
basic, like basic bitch. She means like more
Didn't
like
she?
a base than an acid.
Yeah, and generally, nature knows what it's doing. It's got a plan.
Finds its balance.
We're not there to disrupt that plan, but we're doing a lot of disruption with a lot of soaps and antibacterial stuff, and we'll play the last clip.
Children are growing up in more sterile environments, and more of them are coming down with the disorders of an overactive immune system.
Eczema, allergy, asthma, hay fever. I mean, it's skyrocketed.
But not in Amish country. Scientists report that Amish kids have surprisingly low rates of asthma and allergies.
Amish children grow up with lots of siblings, spend lots of time outdoors, and tend to have stables of lots of different animals right up against the house.
They're exposed to lots of different microbes, and that seems to help them develop a well-trained immune system.
Buy it.
So your skin is your first line of defense, and we can't disrupt it as much as we're disrupting it.
It knows what it's doing.
It knows what it's doing. So I've never known the science behind it, but I've always known that and then also it's a multi-billion-dollar business to try to sell this to everyone all the time. And it's always it's weird. There's a few things that work with our citizens. We have there's a political thing where we work race into everything. Like, no one wants to be that. And then, as homophobic and xenophobic and sexist and all sorts of things. No one wants to be that. So that's how we do it. In the Procter & Gamble world, it's gross. Like, you don't want to be gross.
Right.
Nobody wants to be gross.
Girls won't talk to, or you won't get the promotion, or whatever.
And
Yeah, of
gross
course.
affects their gross.
Ooh.
Thank you.
Yeah, I was going to say, give yourself a sniff, baby. Once you stop using soap, you may not want to sniff so hard. So I've always kind of been aware of this, and now it's like slowly it's kind of coming out. I suspect it's been turbocharged with COVID because we got nuts into washing and wiping and wiping and washing. So we probably did a whole bunch of damage in this period of time.
Yeah.
It's sort of it's an invisible damage. It's sort of like, well, what happens when you keep kids home for a year and a half? Well, I don't know. They learn from home. Well, they get depressed and suicides go up. They have difficulty, or when you put masks on 2-year-olds, they have trouble recognizing facial expressions and all part of that. There's a lot of residual stuff from things that seem pretty good at the time. But F all you who always called me gross because I've been on this for 25 years.
Yeah, it's now that like you said, the pretty people, Matthew McConaughey, Ashton Kutcher. Now we can talk about it. Now it's acceptable.
Yes, now that the beautiful people have gotten on board the no soap train. All right. I told Chris to pull up a pic of like the Vaseline intensive care tube or whatever, because I was looking at one the other day, and it's like advanced repair, intensive care. Like it's all such a.
It's just putting back what you strip away.
Right.
It's just fixing what you did to yourself.
Right. You strip all of it away, and then they synthesize it in some factory somewhere, and you try to put it back, but it's advanced repair, intensive care.
It's funny too, because Gina knows, because we talked about this, but like all the advanced stuff, all the product, all the new stuff, all the expensive stuff, there's nothing better than like Aquaphor. Aquaphor will if you have dry skin. When I had my medication, it was just killing my feet. Aquaphor.
I keep that company in business.
It's the simplest stuff, and it's
on my
basically
lips
Vaseline.
Right now.
Basically. Basically.
See, I never get the dry skin or the stuff that goes along with it because I've never used I never did engaged in the first dance.
Well, mine
I
is
never used the soap.
But it'll or diaper rash. It'll go away the next day.
One thing that I noticed,
great.
sort of peripherally, a long time ago, and maybe it was from Dr. Drew, but I noticed people that had jobs such as surgeons, doctors, guys like that, had really dry cuticles and fingers and their skin. Like there were the people, mechanics and stuff, the people had jobs where they were constantly washing their hands all day.
soap.
Their skin sort of paid the price for it.
At the very least, have we done away with it? It used to be at all elementary schools and at least my synagogue, I imagine churches.
Cotton soap.
Horrible.
That was so
powdered
weird.
soap.
So weird.
Like that
Powdered soap.
boraxy.
Yeah, there was that, and there was the lava bar.
Oh,
you guys remember the lava bar?
That went away before my time.
But that horrible dispenser and just drop sand into your hand.
You would push up the little
What about
the rat,
What about all the scrubs? And by the way, this is the same thing with your skin and zits. All the scrubbing, all that does is fuck up the flora and fauna. Like the crazy, you got to get the stuff with the apricot seeds that are crushed up into it.
St. Ives, don't do that.
Need to get a pneumatic grinding wheel and go at your cheeks every night. All it does is agitate the fuck out of everything. And just think how in my lifetime, in modern times, long after we put somebody on the moon and cars had cruise control, they would still say, look, your skin's all greasy because you ate that pizza.
Sure.
Yeah.
The pizza's got
Too
the
much
grease on the
chocolate.
top, and now it's coming out of your forehead.
Yep.
It's like
That's how it
science,
works.
you know what I mean?
Your stomach digests it, distributes it to your face.
You got a zit. What happened? You ate some chocolate? Would you have a Hershey's Kiss?
I mean,
That's
I guess.
why you got the zit.
hope
You
you
had
learned
the
your lesson.
chocolate, it gave you the breakout, and then you had the greasy pizza. Now you got the grease coming out. You got the
That's
oil
why
coming
people
out
call
of your
me
face.
pizza face.
That's right.
I put some
see.
Bondo on it.
Yeah.
All right, Gina.
In the day of
sorry.
Accutane, is acne even a problem anymore? I don't mean to be insensitive. I honestly don't know.
No,
We don't know any
You can take
teenagers.
Accutane.
Just easy on your organs.
And like I've always said, there's like a few things that work in life. NyQuil and Oxy-10. Those will
Tried and true.
Oxy-10, dab that shit on before you go to bed. It dries shit out.
In the Netflix show, they talked about acne for a little bit, and they said that, using like those face washes actually didn't help. What would help is if you found a way to put more bacteria into your face.
Yes, because those face washes that dry you makes your skin go, oh God, I thought we were oily before, but now we're really dry.
Gotta
Got to
produce
pile on
more.
more oil.
How does one do that? I mean, I could imagine like eating a homeless pussy or something, but
Olive oil
I don't know if I want my
dome.
son to do that before his 18th birthday.
I think they said that they wish that there was a product that would do that.
Oh,
Dirt.
okay.
Busy.
All right. Well, look, bad news, Gina Grad.
Oh, yeah.
I know you miss Ed Asner,
I do.
and I saw you tweeted out a picture of you and Ed.
did.
And I've seen all the tributes. Ed is beloved.
Universally beloved.
Well, almost.
But I had something stuck in my craw.
Uh-oh.
My problem is that I have a huge craw.
Yeah.
Most people
Plenty of room.
craw.
Plenty of room in that craw.
Most people have a very small craw and it can only accommodate a few things that get stuck in it. I get multiple things stuck in my craw hourly.
Yeah.
So I always had something stuck in my craw about Ed Asner.
Do tell.
And I remember interviewing him, Chris says way back from 2010. I think he had his son in there. Now, look, I love Mary Tyler Moore as much as the next guy. And I know he's done a lot of philanthropic work as well. So, it's the reason I don't bring him up very often. But now that he's gone,
Feel free to speak ill.
Well, my craw's full.
You got to empty the craw.
I had to empty some of the craw. And I remember I said, I did an interview with him, and he was definitely one of these 9/11 deniers. Like
all grievances in the craw.
Not down with the Twin Towers coming down because of the airplanes.
I can't believe that's real.
And I
tweeted this when I found out he died.
I now look, I'm all into being a little bit suspicious of the government. They flip flop on a face mask, or why aren't we talking about therapeutics? Like, okay, be a little suspicious, or Benghazi, or Watergate. Like, have some, but the Twin Towers, we have films of the plane going into it, and much like Ed Asner, and a guy who doesn't get his due in the nut department because he's sort of beyond reproach, but Spike Lee, this reminded me with the category, whatever. He thinks Navy frogmen blew the levees to drown black people. I mean, think about just how insane that concept is. And also, is that the kind of thing you could keep secret in a day? Like, we just had the Trump administration. Well, every time that guy farted, it was leaked out to CNN, like immediately, right?
Yeah,
like,
indeed.
Do you think we could get together a team of Navy SEALs to blow up the levees?
I'll go back to your assertion from many years ago, which is the government is not evil. They're incompetent. They just want your money. They can't do anything effectively. Look at Afghanistan, for God's sake. They can't do anything effectively.
Right. So that's what we are. Yes, we're not evil. We're incompetent, and we spend a lot of money being incompetent. So it's kind of a bad business model. If you ran the aforementioned pizza shop, well, then it'd be a horrible business model. If you were the only pizza shop and you were funded in perpetuity, then who cares what the business model is? But
we couldn't even falsify the WMDs. That came out. You know what I mean? Like, we can't do anything.
Yeah, that was sort of my argument of like, Bush knew. I was like, Bush would have dug a hole in the desert, buried some mustard gas, and went, aha!
This is not unachievable.
Get a photo op of these guys digging up a barrel of mustard gas. Yes, we're not good at it. It's a heist, essentially. If you think about it, a government, whether we're wiring the Twin Towers for explosives the night before, or
no Jews in the building,
whether we're blowing up the levees. Well, they don't work in the financial industry. We're blowing up the levees.
No Jews at the levees.
That would have to be an exceedingly well-coordinated heist, essentially.
Yes.
That would be an Italian job type heist.
Minimum 100 people.
And we could never pull it off. How many of those folks would be on Tucker Carlson the week after, or you name the news outlet? So anyway, I told Max Zapata, I can't remember. I just remember Ed Asner thinking it was a government plot. And I said,
he was convinced.
Grab that clip and
I got to
let's
hear this
listen
for
to
my
it.
own, with my own ears.
If someone was injured or especially killed, I don't want to see it.
Yeah, good.
That's but that's just me. Unless it involves a plane. And for some reason, I'll watch it because I did see the planes going into the towers on 9/11.
Well, that was just, you needed to see that.
And you saw the towers coming down.
And I saw the towers coming down too. Call me a hypocrite,
Crazy.
but that I could not turn away from. I don't know. I felt like that was history or something.
Yeah, you see,
You needed to see it to be part of the conversation.
Ed, what do you think?
You're going to get him started. You're going to get him started on the
Not one
9/11
Jew in the
stuff.
building.
Okay.
What's going on? Conspiracy? Really? What's up, Ed?
What do you know?
Go ahead.
No, I just believe it.
What's the conspiracy part?
What's the conspiracy part?
Yeah, I mean that you believe in. Matt, you want to go out in the parking lot and put your head
They
under
did
a
it to
pillow?
go to war? Is
That's
that
the
what
sun,
you're
I
saying?
I mean, these are all facts which are out there. If people may take the time to stop and
Let's hear
it. Rob Schneider said, Ed, I thought you'd know better.
Oh.
But I don't think he's exempted by any means, and so I preach it.
What? Let's hear it.
No high-rise has ever gone down by fire.
Mm-hmm.
Those buildings fell at the rate of gravity in 10 seconds flat. Or close to it.
So what is the thought? Now there were millions. Now here's Ed as somebody who's done a little building.
I don't want to take away
time
from
No, this is interesting.
good, and I just want to see Matt squirm anyway. No, seriously, because here's how I I know it to have happened. The I-beams that this thing is built of, they put fire retardant material on these I-beams. If you go into an underground parking structure and you look up, you see something that looks like it's had acoustic cottage cheese stuff blown all over it. Well, that's fire retardant because steel does melt at a fairly low temperature, and they put fire. Now, I had heard, Ed, that when the impact of the plane knocked a lot of that stuff off of these beams, and then when the Jet A fuel started burning, the beams melted. But to that, you would say what?
Bullshit.
Really? Well, then who's behind it then?
Well, we'll never know from the type of investigation.
Who do you think is behind it?
I think that there is a certain area of government which probably participated in this.
I feel like we've started wars over less.
We have, but I think the people, in all of their stupidity, have gotten a little smarter. So you can't easily pull a Gulf of Tonkin. It's got to be on a bigger scale.
Vietnam.
And the lying has to be bigger. The two chiefs of the 9/11 Commission have both stated that the CIA did not completely inform them, but they were denied information. And my bottom line in all of this is that this country, which is the greatest, strongest country that ever existed in the world in terms of power, supposedly had a defense which could not be penetrated all these years, waiting for the Russians. No. But all of that was eradicated by 19 Saudi Arabians, supposedly. Some of whom who didn't even know how to fly. One of the one that supposedly flew into the Pentagon did a 180-degree turn, which experienced pilots say can't be done.
Well, there's two things I learned from that clip. One is Ed Asner's a conspiracy theorist. And this show was a lot better when Shira Lazar was the news girl.
I was trying to figure out who that was.
Fucking scintillating.
That was pleasant to listen to.
That was good shit.
That was like nice on the ears.
Oh, God damn
It was
it.
informative.
No, not in contrast,
It was interesting.
Gina. I'm just saying it in a vacuum.
What's Shira Lazar up to?
What's she up to?
Gina's getting married. She'll, turn the page.
No fucking joke. I saw her yesterday.
Yesterday.
She's, on the gas station. She hosted the little
Hold
What's
on.
Trending.
Yesterday.
I'm filling up a gas station, and on the fucking little screen right there, it's What's Trending with Shira Lazar.
Wow.
I hate
So I called her up and invited her over. She'll be here in a little bit.
Pretty easy on the eyes, as I recall, as
my
well.
God, I'm trying.
Stoned Fox.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Well, anyway, there you go. Ed, I mean.
Well, let me text her real quick.
I got it.
Oh, yeah, okay.
You guys good? You don't. Do I need to stick around?
We got to finish the show.
We got to finish the show.
We finished this show.
Understood.
Yeah.
Not the show as an entity.
That wasn't ambiguous. There was not a lot of wiggle room there. That was, he believed.
And I love when people who are like not scientists give these like, well, as you know, gravity can't fall at that rate. Like, how do you know? I don't know that. Do we know that?
No buildings ever.
Yeah,
one of the big complaints.
History of the world.
I didn't. Okay.
Yeah, since 1421, no high rise.
Yeah.
No I-beam structured high-rise. Well, this is first off, this is a huge airplane filled with tons of fuel. We didn't have those that long ago. And then also it's a skyscraper that, 122 stories or whatever it is. But anyway, all right. And I never got the faster than gravity. This is this weird thing. Someone will tweet me, but if you blew up the 55th floor, if the Navy SEALs blew it up, or an airplane blew it up, how does gravity factor into
You're
that?
familiar with terminal velocity, the point at which
Love
you
that
can't go.
movie.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm talking about. But something falling can't go any faster if it's not being propelled. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, whatever.
And I hate to be a one-upper here, Ed, but as somebody who saw the plane go into the building and saw it fall with my own eyes, I'm pretty sure it seemed like a direct action and reaction.
Just like a Jew.
Our synagogue's conference room is called Asner Hall.
We wired the building for demolition, and then we flew the plane into it. Or who flew the plane into it?
Well, to provide cover.
Right.
That would make sense
But
in the story.
Well, and I don't want to drag Tony Hawk into this.
Yes.
But I'm going to.
Who, Tony Hawk?
Yes.
Oh.
You know how we've talked about before, like, well, nobody knew they could do that move until they saw Tony Hawk do it.
780 or 60 or whatever.
Yeah, and now, kids do. Well, our rules of like living, our rules in our head was nobody would ever do this. It never entered our mind. So when he says, how could 19 Saudi Arabia? Because they did.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, there's that. Now,
the conspiracy that we'll be down with is those planes, the one that crashed in Pennsylvania and the one that hit the Pentagon, might have been shot down.
Right.
They've never I don't think they ever confirmed that, but that would make a lot of sense to me.
The other thing, so I started to notice with Ed, and so we'd moved on. This is somewhere in that interview. I didn't want to send Chris on the wild goose chase, but at some point, he was talking again, and he was like, we could have liberated Auschwitz and those concentration camps closer, 3 years earlier. Like, we could have liberated them, but we didn't, as America. And I thought, oh, you're not fond of this country. It's a little less of a conspiracy and a little more of got a little beef with the U.S. That was what I gleaned from that conversation.
Yeah, because he said, we're the strongest, most powerful, but that might not have been a compliment.
Right.
It was just part of his...
Well, I don't know that it's a strong intellectual argument when they go, it's like, they go, we're the strongest, most powerful country with the biggest military in the world, and 19 guys who lived in caves. It's like, I guess so.
Yeah.
That seems like...
They found a weakness in the system.
Charging rhinos 2,000 pounds in one guy. It's like, well, with a gun.
Yeah, it can be done.
It could be done. All right. He'll be missed.
And so will Cheryl Lazar.
I just had, goddamn. No, she won't. No, she was missed.
She was for a long time.
Okay, I see.
Right. All right. So that's out of my craw. I got a little more room in there.
Good.
And I'll tell you about Simply Safe, which isn't stuck in my craw. Simply Safe founders Chad and Eleanor Lawrence designed their first security system in their kitchen because their friend's home was broken into. I think they're on the Harvard, I think. They were at an Ivy League school, and they told me the story, actually. Making people feel safe is what Simply Safe's been doing since that moment 15 years ago. A passion to protect people drives every engineering detail and every customer interaction. Simply Safe has highly trained security experts ready whenever you need them. During a fire, burglary, medical emergency, or just setting up the system, my listeners can save 20% and get the first month free when you sign up for the interactive monitoring service. Visit Simply Safe, simplysafe.com/Adam. Customize your system and start protecting your home and family today. That's simplysafe.com/Adam for that 20% off. All right, quick break. Right back after this.
It's time to check Adam's voicemail.
Eighth man, get it on. If somebody put a shotgun to Sonny's head and you had to do one or the other, would you rather suck your dad's dick or eat your mom's pussy? Get it on.
You can leave us a message at 888-634-1744.
I know that voice. I remember that dude from finishing school, I think, way back in the day.
I think he wrote the new edition of Emily Post.
Yes, that's right. All right. Speaking of Sonny, I was miserable this morning, but then I felt better because of an efficiency in which my brain works in a certain sense, which is I get up in the morning. So I had to come in here early today because I agreed to host Dave Rubin's show. Dave Rubin does this interesting thing, which is, I guess once a year he goes on a vacation. He is does not have his phone, and he doesn't have any attachment to the outside world.
Smart.
And it's smart, and it's the way to go. And he has no idea what happened in the news cycle in the last month. So whatever's going on with the Taliban, Cuomo.
Yeah.
And then he comes back, and he shields himself from everything. And then you fill him in on what happened, and you break it down, and you have a discussion. So he had me host that episode. And it's also weird to go, oh, well, Cuomo resigned, right? He's like, what? No way. Cuomo wouldn't. Why did Cuomo say he was getting some heat? But I was like, oh, he's out. He's out.
Damn,
it's weird.
It's crazy. It always seems because he's been like that for a while and like totally off the grid, and the grid is off him. But I've always questioned how much disconnecting he's doing, and you're saying it is the real deal.
He goes to Mexico with his husband, David. They, they're very strict about it, and they take the cold dunks and the saunas and the exercise,
the gallivant,
and the gallivant around, and they eat all the good food, and they just completely stay off the grid, and then they come back, and their minds are blown when they find out what's going on in Afghanistan, and then you find yourself having to describe it like, well, we got out of Afghanistan, well, then we went back. Why did we go back? Like, it's like the eyes of a babe.
Yeah.
It's like, it's bizarre, but they have the intellectual capacity to start piecing things together. So it's not like you're talking to a kid. Anyway, it was kind of interesting. So I had to come in early to do that, but no worries. I got up early to drive Natalia, who won't walk to school, while Sonny will walk to school. And Natalia frequently forgets her lunch, which then makes it my job to go find the lunch and go drop it off on that lunch stand the rack we spoke about before. And now I had to be out of the house to come do the Dave Rubin thing at like 9:30 in the morning, and I was dropping Natalia off. Tell me what you think of this in the selfish parent department.
All right.
She was leaving the car at about 8:20 in the morning, and I said, oh, you got your lunch? And she was like, yeah, I got my, and then she went like a sitcom, oh, I don't have my lunch. Can you bring my lunch? And I was like, because I already got to go home, get ready, get out of the house, and get to do this Dave Rubin thing. But now I got to get the lunch and bring the lunch back. And I was thinking to myself, God damn it, I shouldn't have asked.
Yeah.
She would have left. She would have discovered it at 10 in the morning, and I would have went, sorry, baby, I'm at the studio.
Well, don't they have a cafeteria?
I was about to say, options?
Yeah, she can get lunch.
They could figure it out. But either way, I made the mistake. I asked. She said, no, bring it to me. I said, fine.
No good deed goes unpunished.
Then I left, and I was like, oh, I got to call Sonny. He's walking. Maybe he hasn't left the house. Maybe he's near the house. Maybe I can. There's a certain age.
Intercept.
Your kids get to an age where you can tell them to do shit, and it's like, oh, my God, it's the greatest thing ever. Like the first day, you can go to the car and go get my notebook and bring it back. You realize, oh, you've got a little slave here. They can do stuff for you.
Retriever.
Like, it's great. And he was like, I'm too far away. I'm already half a mile from school or 2 blocks from school. I'm like, ugh. Then I went home and I was like, okay, I got to get ready for this Dave Rubin thing. And then I get the call from Sonny. Somebody's tested positive for COVID in his class, and he's being sent home. And my first thought was, good, because I have to go there anyway with this goddamn lunch. In my brain, I could justify this worthless trip because I'm going there anyway now. And I can pull up and throw the lunch at Sonny and tell him to walk it to the rack. So that's what I did. So I just went.
It's been some lunch.
It was a hell of a morning, but I went, brought the lunch, got Sonny in the car. This has been the second time I think somebody's come down with something.
Jesus, they've been back for 2 weeks.
In his class, a new study came out from a couple of Stanford scientists or university members or something, professors, researchers, whatever it was. And I was actually hearing the data as I was driving to pick him up. From 0 to 19, I'm closing my eyes because I'm going off of memory here. Fatalities once you've got COVID. So the fatality level with people infected from COVID from 0 to 19. And that demographic, the survivability is 99.997. So it's statistically...
So you're saying there's a chance.
Killing kids, it doesn't exist. And by the way, you go to the next category, which is 20 to 29, and it's still 99.9 it's either 99.99 or 99.97 or something. And then when you get to 20 to 30, it's still 99.94 or something. It's all old people, essentially, in terms of death. But anyway, so I had that ring in my ear, and then I picked up Sonny, and then, he's agnostic about going home because he wants to go home anyway because he's at school. All right, Don McLean is going to join us. I don't know what you guys think about Madonna's remake. I'm okay with it. I don't have a beef with it. You don't like it? Well, I try not to be a... I try not just to talk shit about Madonna. I feel like she's an
she has some solid pop songs.
She's an easy target.
Yeah.
And I don't recall minding the remake, but maybe it's just because I like American Pie so much.
I was going to use your logic against you. You don't like that version. You like American Pie because in what way did she make it better?
In no ways.
Yeah, they never make it better.
No, I know she's Madonna. She has some fine pop songs, but American Pie cover, not one of them.
Well, we'll find out what Don thinks himself. Let's see. Let's talk to Dan, 47, from Gainesville, Florida. Dan?
Mijo?
Mijo?
So, Adam, you're going to love this. So I'm in the one, woke county in Florida that is trying to find every loophole to do mandates. Because last May, the governor removed the state of emergency, which means they can't just tell you got to do this, you got to do that. So they found a loophole where they can do a week-long mandate, renewable up to 6 times. And my favorite thing about this is they meet every week as if there's some chance they're going to not do the mandate again, right? These people would have kept the mask mandate last year long after we basically stopped having cases here. This is a small county. And it's just hilarious. Every week they meet, and then at the end of the 6th time, they're not allowed to renew it anymore. So I'm imagining they're going to chain themselves to the wall or... Oh, by the way, no one's enforcing this either, so it's just pretty funny at this point.
I remember...
I just thought you'd get a kick out of that.
This reminded me of... I had a semi-unscrupulous manager many, many years ago, and it is illegal in the state of California to have a 10-year contract, like a management contract, because, all right, you can't sign away a decade. But the max is 5 years. So he, in his contract, had a 5-year contract
with auto-renew
that automatically renewed for another 5 years in where there's 1 month grace period. But he never said the first one expired. Do you want to renew the second one? All you had to do. Now this is
kind of like your trial account for stars.
Yes. Yeah. This is pre-smartphones and a lot of stuff. You would literally have to go, what month is it? Oh, well, we're in September. All right, it's 2000. Okay. You'd have to take a Post-it and say September 1st, 2026 and put it on your refrigerator.
Because you have a calendar, obviously, that went...
Yeah, you wouldn't have a calendar that went that high. And then with no discussion... As a matter of fact, you might not even speak to him for that month. It would then automatically renew, which was all above the board according to according to whatever the laws exist in California. Yes. All right.
Found a way around.
Yeah, he will be missed. Let's see. I had a thought, which was, how long is that Bill Maher clip that I was enjoying, Max Zapata?
It's about 7 minutes.
Oh, well, that's too long. I think we have to trim that thing down. Maybe the last 2 minutes or something of Bill Maher. And I was going to connect it to something, but it doesn't really need that. Bill Maher is all of a sudden lashing out against woke culture and victimhood and all this kind of stuff. I don't know if it's his age. I don't know what's going on with him, but he's got some momentum.
He's old and rich, so it makes sense.
In that department, and he basically did this whole jag about we never stop talking about how oppressive this country is, but tell that to your new Afghan refugee neighbor. Let's really talk about what oppression looks like over there versus what we perceive as oppression over here. And I was going to tie it into this thing, and it's kind of esoteric, but I've been saying for a long time, we need to stop arguing over how bad this country is. We can fix the things that need to be fixed, but just sort of beating ourselves up and deciding everyone is a victim is not helping. As a matter of fact, it hurts the people we turn into victims, or we make think of themselves as a victim. It's a way to stifle any growth, which is just say to a person, the reason you're not successful is because you're victimized and you're living in a country with systemic fill in all the blanks, and that's why you can't get ahead. Well, then you're going to fall further behind. And I was thinking about it in terms of who is doing the best in this country, and the answer is Asians. And as I was thinking about it, the Asians, now, there's things crop up a little. The whole COVID Wuhan thing cropped up, and there was a couple of Asians getting punched on the streets of Manhattan. But by and large, they just keep their head down and they just kick our ass in terms of annual income and education and everything. And we're just left battling. You know, it's basically white people, Hispanic, gay, straight, whatever, black, and we all just battle over who's oppressing who, and the Asians just get further and further away. Like, we're all here in a scrum, figuring out whose fault everything is, and they're like, we're just going to stay quiet. We'll just start buying real estate and getting advanced degrees, and our median income will be, you know, it's 40 grand more than white people, or maybe it's 20 grand more than white people, and it's 40 grand more than Hispanic or black and whatever it is. And then 3 years from now, it'll be 50 grand more. Like, they'll just keep going while we're fucking throwing sandbags onto our own gondola, doing a battle. They'll sail away. I had a metaphor. I'll show you, but we'll play you Bill Maher's thing first if you got, I don't know, the last 2 minutes.
Yep.
But any immigrant will tell you we've largely succeeded here, and yet the overriding thrust of current woke ideology is that America is rotten to the core, irredeemably racist from the moment it was founded, and so oppressive, sexist, and homophobic, we can't find a host for the Oscars or Jeopardy. Oh, yeah. I'm sure you heard the new Jeopardy guy is out because he said boobies in 2014. And this is where your new Afghani roommates that you took in will prove so valuable, because they'll turn to you and say, have you people lost your fucking minds?
I like that everyone claps, because they were clapping when he was saying the opposite 2 years ago.
Have you ever heard of honor killings, public beheadings, throwing gay men off of roofs, arranged marriages to minors, state-sanctioned wife beating, female genital mutilation, marriage by capture? Because we have. What's the lesson of Afghanistan? Maybe it's that everyone from the giant dorm room bitch session that is the internet should take a good look at what real oppression looks like. Ask your maid. Ask your Uber driver. Ask the Asian woman giving you a massage. She'll tell you this place is Shangri-La, and not just because she works in a place called Shangri-La. America may not be the country of your faculty lounge and Twitter dreams, but no one here tries to escape by hanging on to an airplane. No. We wait till we're inside the plane to fight. Mm-hmm. And then only because they cut off the beverage service.
Yeah.
All right. So I was thinking about this. I always thought the metaphor was, all right, so it's not a metaphor. We hang around and fight, and then the Asians just quietly drift on. And I've always said, like, you never hear them really going, like, where's our representation? Like, where's our representation in Congress? You know, why isn't the police chief Asian? They don't care. It's a waste of their time and their energy. They're too busy fucking crushing it and growing businesses and doing whatever. It's folly to worry about who the fire captain is or the police chief is, as if they would represent you in some way, shape, or form. It's fucking retarded. It's a waste of time. It keeps everyone behind. the metaphor I was thinking about, and then I started thinking, there's got to be some car metaphor I can connect to this.
You can do it, buddy. Come on.
Oh, I did it.
Here we go.
When I was doing the very last Toyota Grand Prix of Long Beach, I think it was 2016, they said, this is going to be our 40th year, something like that. It's going to be the last one we ever run. And we're bringing back all the All-Stars for the All-Star race. So normally you do the race and, you know, there's some guys who can drive, and then there's Wanda Sykes. And you don't have to worry about Wanda Sykes. But this is only people that have won and won multiple times and professional drivers. So this is a tough crowd. It's a tough group of 20 to try to get around. And at some point, probably about halfway into the race, I was in second place.
Behind an Asian?
Come on, Bryan.
I was trying to help him.
I was in second place behind Alfonso Ribeiro, who is a great driver, and he had won 3 times.
Damn.
Going into this. So
3 times, fool!
And they stopped the race because they red flagged it. Everyone had to come to stop. They pulled a tow truck out on the track. People kept racing. There was a crazy incident where someone was almost killed because the tow truck guy was out of his car on the track and guys were still racing. And literally, this guy could have lost his legs when someone plowed into the tow truck. Jesus. And it was right in the middle of the whole thing. That's something for MaxPad to find online at some point. But anyway, so I said, all right, they stopped the race. And at some point, they removed the smashed cars and the tow truck. And they're like, we're gonna re-enter this race. So I was in second place. So I just thought to myself, you know, I'm just gonna put my bumper on his rear bumper, on the guy in first place, and in his rear bumper, and I'm just gonna stay with him for the rest of this race. And I'm not that good in open space, but if you're the rabbit, I can chase you. I'll turn faster lap times, and we have the same equipment, and I will stay with the person that's in front of me. That's how I don't qualify that well, because when you qualify, they just put you out on the track alone. But if you have someone fast in front of me, I'll stay with them.
Your pace car.
Usually. So that was my plan. So I was like, all right, that's what I'm going to do. Now, they tell you over and over and over again that there is one corner on that track, which is the hairpin at the beginning of Shoreline Drive, which is the longest straightaway. Those cars don't have a ton of horsepower. So the plan is you got to swing wide, you got to go wide on this hairpin, and then you have to exit clean and smooth. And if you exit this hairpin where you almost come to a stop, you get out of it clean, you'll probably be going 8 or 10 miles an hour faster at the end of Shoreline. So if you can get out of it, get out of the blocks, so to speak, at the end of the 100-yard dash, you'll be going that much faster. So they always stress it because what happens is when somebody pulls out to kind of go around to take the proper racing line on the hairpin, it's always tempting for whoever's behind him to slide in. But the problem is if you slide in, you're not getting out. So you may slide in, but now you're way off the racing line. Your exit speed's going to be crap, and we're going to do nothing. So the metaphor is I had Alfonso Ribeiro was elite. He's the Asian. He's China in this equation. And the rest of us are trying to overtake him or stay with him, except for we are arguing amongst ourselves. And I got Al Unser Jr. and professional Indy drivers and a couple of really fast road racing guys who are behind me and us, second and third place. But because we tangle, we argue essentially, the guy in first, China, and the Asians, they go off. They take off. And now I got Al Unser Jr. up my ass and Max Pappas, who's another professional driver, and he's literally bumping me down the straightaway when we should have it, but we were arguing amongst ourselves. I'll show you this clip, and you'll see it. You can go to adamcarolla.com and look at it. This is Al Unser Jr.'s car I'm in second place as we head into it. De Torres launches down low, runs me into the wall, and Alfonso Ribeiro's fucking gone at this point. He's gone, and then Max Pappas and Al Unser get through it clean. You can let it run for a second, or he's bumping me down the straightaway now when he was way behind me because De Torres dive bombed me and pushed me in the wall and fucked us all up. He's literally touching me going down the straightaway now. He was way behind, but we're fighting amongst ourselves, and Alfonso Ribeiro is gone at this point. Ugh.
Yeah, you're all tangled up.
You really are a car guy.
I am. You can show it. You can show the turn one more time. You just watch her slide in, take us both. Stop it. We're both facing the wall.
Yep.
I'm facing the wall. And Alfonso, he should have paid her $10,000 for this. He was gone. And I'm going into the wall, and none of us are getting out clean now. And the fast guy's behind us, he's now bumping me going down Shoreline Drive. He's literally in his car at 135 miles an hour, bumping me from behind because look at my setup for this turn. We're both facing the wall. She fucked us both up. We're both all fucked up. She didn't finish third. She was in third. I didn't finish second. I was in second. I finished fourth. And that's the end of the race for us. And the fast guys behind us, they got out clean and they beat us. So there's your racing metaphor for life. Let's stop arguing and letting the Asians take the checkered flag. That's what I'm saying.
I got from
They've had it too good for too long.
It's a perfect metaphor. We're letting them go. They don't want the fray. They let us argue argue who's more racist. You know, all the critical race theory and all the race and all the stuff. The Asians don't get worked into that.
No.
Notice that? They're just doing what they do.
Speeding down Shoreline.
Speeding down Shoreline. Gonna taste a sweet taste of that champagne in a few minutes.
Llamas are a favorite animal for viral biologists. Unlike large antibodies produced in humans, a llama's immune system creates small antibodies against the stuff that makes us sick. Sharks are very similar, way harder to work on. So they prefer to use the llamas.
Wow.
That was cooperative.
Yeah.
That'd be nice.
Yeah.
Llamas have nice eyes.
They do, and nice haircuts.